What is an AnyPoint platform? Sorry, AnyPoint Studio. Sorry. What is AnyPoint Studio?
It's a IDE.
It is an
It is a tool
IDE.
from Mule Software drag and drop platform.
An IDE. What we will do in the IDE? What we will do?
We
New
will
members who attended yesterday. What we will do in the IDE? We will develop our integrations. What we are going to do in the IDE? What is your IDE here? AnyPoint Studio, and this is called. Please go on mute unless you speak anything. And then AnyPoint Studio is an IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, where what we will do here, we will develop our Mule applications, and then we will develop our Mule applications. Inside the Mule application, what we will have inside the Mule application? What is a Mule application? What is a Mule application?
Mule application is a collection of Mule configurations which will have
Collection
a
of
flows.
one or more Mule configuration files. What will be there in the Mule configuration file?
flows.
What will be there in the Mule configuration file?
Flows.
Mule
We'll
configuration
have
will have the
Have more.
flows.
one or more flows. Inside flow, what we will have? We'll have an start event processor, and then
Event handler and event processor and business logic.
other event processors. So start event processor, if you take like your flow is like your train. Example, your train will have an engine, that is your start event processor, and then start event listener we will call this, right? Just time being I'm calling it as a processor, and then after that start event processor we will attach the other event processors to it, right? In yesterday's session, what we have learned?
Created
What we have learned in yesterday's session?
created hello module sample project using HTTP connector.
What we have done in the first yesterday's session? Yesterday's session, we have developed a first example. What is our first example? What is our first example? From browser,
Hello world.
you
Welcome to
send a
Mulesoft.
request, and then Mulesoft code, Mulesoft application, process that and respond with some message, right? Whoever not executed this, non-IT people, anyone executed this example? No, no one. You guys needs to spend time on. You guys needs to spend time on practice as well. If you don't do practice, it's an unnecessary waste of your time and money to attend any course. Not only this course, any course, you should give first preference to the practice. Attending class and practice is must and should important. If it is not there, it's not going to help you at any cost. You are losing your time and money. So do the practice regularly. So now again, I will try to show this example one more time. So I am deleting my project, and then I am creating the first project again. After the first project creation, what I will do, I will try to debug this again. So what we have discussed in the yesterday session, we have discussed about AnyPoint Studio introduction, download, install, building first Mule application, introduction to Mule application and flows, and running your first Mule application. This is what we have done. So introduction, it is a Eclipse-based IDE. Features include two-way editing, graphical and XML views. And we have many other points that you get to know once we move further. And there is something called visual debugging. What is that? Visual debugging. So this is the point we are going to touch today. Right? This is the point we are going to touch today. So now AnyPoint Studio setup, what we have done, we have gone through this particular URL, AnyPoint Studio installation. So we went to this URL. So now go to this link and choose your platform. And from this platform, go and read the points here. It's asking us to first download and provide the data or points over here. So already yesterday I provided. So it's giving me only option to choose Windows and the job title, and then try to download this. So when you download this, this will get downloaded as a zip file. So like this 7111 Windows 64.zip. So copy this zip file into any of the folder under C drive. Recommended is to create a new folder and copy over here. Right click that and then install 7-zip software. So Google for the 7-zip software. Yesterday I have explained, and then right click on that. You'll see 7-zip option and extract here. So directly it will extract a folder called AnyPoint Studio. And then I have many versions. So that is the reason I have added, suffixed the version name. And now click on this AnyPoint Studio exe to open your studio. So that is how we launched our studio. At the time of studio launching, it will ask you the location. Where should I save my projects? So why we will use studios? We will use the studio. We will use the studio to develop the applications. So you have to choose a location. So every folder I will create under this particular batch name for your batch. So your videos, your attendance, and your workspace, whatever the notes I'll write, that will be under here, will be shared later in your Google Drive, right? So now provide the workspace, provide the location for your workspace, where your, what is workspace? It's a space for your work, day-to-day work, where you are creating the projects, they will be stored over here. And then launch this. Now you will have your AnyPoint Studio. So what are the small windows are called here? What are the small windows called here? Non-IT people.
Canvas.
This
is a canvas.
This is below grayed out one is the canvas. What are the small windows are called?
Package Explorer and Mule Palette.
Okay, what is that called? A common name for all small windows. What is that? That is called a view, right? So your studio is divided into small views. Each view has a purpose. So Package Explorer will show you the projects and the contents inside the project. And when you open any file, so let's go and create a project first. I'm going and creating file new Mule project. So I'm not explaining in detail. hello world, and then click on finish. At the end, you can see in it, this project is storing under your workspace folder. So click on finish. So now this project is created. So once the project is created, the project content will be showed inside a view called any project explorer. And then, so time being, there are many folders. So don't look into that. Just only look into the file name whose name is like your project name. This is called Mule configuration file, right? So what I'm trying to achieve here, I'm trying to achieve some example which is similar to the meeting ID that we have joined. So we joined this meeting, with an URL, right? So in this URL, it was divided into multiple parts. So in this URL, the first part is called protocol. It will be HTTP or HTTPS. And second part is called the host name. And next to the host name, there will be port number. So HTTP protocol's default port number is 80. HTTPS default port number is 443.
443.
So 443, when we have this default ports, they will not be displayed next to it. If it is not the default port, we have to give the port number next to it with the colon and then port number, and next to this is the path of your resource under this host. So in meet.google.com, there might be lakhs of meetings are happening in this time. But how you guys are all we have connected in the same meeting with the help of this particular ID. In the same way, I want to create some application where I want to send a request from the browser. What it needs a protocol and it needs a host name. My application will run on my local machine and I will give a port number 8081 and I will give a path called hi. So I will send this request from the browser. I should create a Mule application which accepts this request, which accepts the request and return me a message called hello all, welcome to Mulesoft. So now here, what we are trying to do. So go to your AnyPoint Studio. Now go to the listeners. Choose something called a listener. So this listener is the one which is ready to accept your request. From the browser. Now for this listener, you should say give the configurations. So this is the second view is called canvas. Whatever you have opened, first view is package explorer, second view is the canvas, and third view is your Mule palette. So this is your Mule palette. From here you will do the drag and drop stuff. Mulesoft is a drag and drop based application, drag and drop based tool. So you need something to drag and drop, some place to drag and drop. If you are, hope most of you has used Paint, MS Paint. So here, this is canvas where you will do draw. If you want something to draw, if I want a square, I have to click the square, get it and drop it, right? And drag it and drop it. So if I want a triangle, if I want to an up arrow mark, if I want to have an up arrow mark, if I want to have some right arrow mark, left arrow mark, so I have to drag and drop it. In the same way, Mulesoft is also similar kind of tool. So you need a place where you should have, the tools to drag and drop, the components to drag and drop. That place is called Mule palette view. So this is the place where you will do drag and drop. So my application is to send a request from the browser, and browser should return this, right? So now browser will send a request. In Mule application, something needs to be there to listen the request, right? So that is called your listener. So by default, click on the favorites and get the listener. So and then do the configurations to the listener. So when you select anything on the canvas, your Mule properties view will be converted to the I know the name of that particular component, that is listener, and it will show you the properties to that. So we have to feed the values to it. So first thing, display name listener, I'm not going to change this. And connector configuration, it is a drop down. Simply click on it. What it is showing? It is showing to create a new configuration. So create a new configuration. Now go and create a new configuration. So how to create that? So it's asking me to create a new configuration. How to create that? Click on the add button. When you click on the add button, when only you see create new configuration, don't click always. So if I click it now, and then it will give you the data. What is the protocol? What is the host? Either it is all hosts or local host, both are same. And then port 8081, that is the default port Mule application uses. So click on OK. Now it will create your listener configuration. So already if you see something in the drop down, don't go and click on plus button again. It will create another listener. If you observe, the name shows config1. Previous name is only config, right? So if you want to see what are the values inside this configuration, next to plus button, there is an edit button. It will show you what are the values here. Right? You can see the things. So that is your second, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth view. Now you have given listener, host name, port number, and protocol. What else is pending? You have your path. So take this particular path and paste it over here. Now your listener is ready to accept the request. So as a developer, you have to know if something request comes into your application, if someone is requesting something from your application, how your developer knows? Developer will print something at the time of execution, that is called logger. And the other thing is, if you want to send a message back to the browser, what the thing you have to use? Just use SetPayload. Don't ask me what is what now. Once you completed 2-3 examples, then you will get to know details about each and everything. First example, you have to just blindly follow the steps. So now, why set payload? If you want to send some message back to the caller, what we will use? Set payload. So choose set payload and don't keep outside. Keep next to your listener under the process section. Now, your listener will accept the request, hand over the data to the payload, set payload. Here I am going to give some text. What is this text? It's a static text. I'm not deriving anything here. Just copy that and paste it over here. So if you see, it's showing in different colors. Means it was in expression mode. Click on f of x to come back to the normal mode. Right? So hello all, welcome to Mulesoft. Done. Now this is prepared the response, and now how a developer knows if a request is received, we will use logger and then keep it, and then just write some message. Just write a message, request received and processed. Right? So this is how you will build a flow. Now, what's the next thing? We have built our application. What we have to do? We have to run our application. IDE is a tool that you no need to do any steps manually, and you no need to run any commands manually. You just have to do with a few mouse clicks. You have to run the commands. So now go and run your application. How to run? Right click on your project and run your application. What it will do, if you have patience, just go and read this out. It will create an archive zip file, and then it will start my Mule application, right? It starts my Mule application. So those who are from integration space, the first line shows you that it was the location of your Mule server, which comes inbuilt with your studio. So for non-IT people, just ignore this, just to make interest for existing integration space people. So this is the space your inbuilt Mule server comes, and this is the place your Mule application deploys, and then this is where it runs, right? So now when you run your application, what will happen? Your application will be in running mode, means it is ready for testing. The process is called running or deploying your application. So now scroll back to the end, just to see if the last line shows you the application name, and if the last line shows you the application name and then says deployed, means it is ready for testing. Now how to test the application? Go and use your constructed URL, right? So HTTP, and this is the URL format, and go to a browser and then paste this. Those who got Google search error, you have to, those someone claimed that they got some Google search message. So don't click on this Google search. If you click on that, you will get it here like this. So open the browser, provide, and then make sure it is showing something called internet symbol here, globe kind of symbol, and click on that, or type your URL http:// localhost 8081, and then then click on the enter. Now you will see hello all, welcome to Mulesoft. So this is the point, this is the thing we have discussed in the yesterday's session, right? So now what else we have discussed in the yesterday? We have done the setup, we have discussed about anatomy. So what is the last view we have used? So the last view is console. So once you executed the example, are you able to see the message in the console? Request received and processed, right? So in the console, if you want to clear, hell lot of messages, there is a clear console button. Click on that. There is a clear console button. Clear console button. You can click on that so that your console will be clear. If anyone sends again a message to your application from a different place, different browser, different tab, now you will get again the request comes, and as a developer, you by seeing this message, hey, one request received and it got processed. If you got more requests, you can see more messages here. So this is how developer will know, right? So now that is what your application development and AnyPoint Studio Anatomy and first application development testing. Mule application is a combination of one or more Mule configuration files. The code where you are writing inside a Mule is called Mule configuration file, and each Mule configuration file contains flows. The place where you have written the code, you have drag dropped listener, but listener, along with listener, you got a rectangle symbol here, right? So that is called a flow. So every Mule application contains one or more configuration files. Every configuration file contains a flow, and a flow will have a Mule event source, Mule event processors, and so on. Mule application receives, what Mule application will do, it receives the requests. The request is called event here, and what it will do, it will process them and then route them to other endpoints. It means why we are learning Mule. Mule is an integration tool. What is the responsibility of it? It should receive the data from one application, and then it has to forward the data to the other application, right? That is what we have learned in the day one session. What is Mule? Mule is an integration tool. Mule is a middleware. It should receive the request from one application and processes this and send the data to the other application. How this will happen? This will happen with the help of your flows. Your Mule application receive events and events, process them, and route them to the other endpoint. Mule applications accepts and process the Mule event through a series of Mule event processors plugged inside a flow. Every Mule event source initiates the execution of the flow. So what is Mule event source? So in our application, what is the Mule event source? What is Mule event source in our application?
Listener.
I'm back. Seems there is a network glitch. So your Mule in your application, what is the Mule event source? Your Mule event source is the listener, right? So now go move further. Mule event processors that transforms what it will do. It will transform, enrich, process the event and its messages. We'll see this in the next sessions. So Mule Flow, it will contain an event source, event processors, and error handling. And then Mule Flow, whatever the code you do drag and drop, that will be generated in backend in a configuration XML. Your Mule configuration file contains 3 tabs. One is your message flow, where you will do drag and drop. The similar code will be created for configuration XML. And then when you have created listener and then created new connector configuration, all these connector configurations will get stored into an global elements. Right, we'll get to know more things on this when we move further. So Mule application building blocks. So in order to develop your Mule application, you are using some components. These are the building blocks for your Mule application. The main building blocks for the Mule applications are the components. These are the components. So if you see, these are the components. All components are grouped together and given a name to the group. So by default, you will get in your project core, HTTP, and sockets. So all core related in event processors are components under the core group. If you are interacting with the HTTP, so now you are interacting with HTTP protocol from the browser, you will have your listener under the HTTP, sockets under sockets. And tomorrow, if you want to read a file and connect it to the database, those will be in different modules. So here on top of this favorites is something like whatever the things you are, just like your browser favorites, whatever the components you are regularly using, you will use it here. And then what is the next one? Modules. If you want extra module to be added, just click on this add module. You will see the possible modules. These are the available modules. Now, if I want to work on the file, what you have to do, choose file and then drag drop to your module side. Your file module will get added to your project. If you want to read a file, you will choose this. And then if you want to interact with some Salesforce system, use this. Something like this, you can add the modules. In the same way, if you are not using, you have a provision to remove the modules as well. Right click on the module name and then remove. Like that, all your components are grouped together. So the main building blocks of the Mule applications are components, and all the components are available here in your documentation. What these components will do, it will help you to create the business logic, and then when application runs, it executes the business logic. These are separated into categories. So core components, modules, and connectors. By default, every project includes HTTP and socket modules. If required, you can add the additional modules in the given way. So this is what, in day one session. So day one, first example, I will repeat, 2 times. So just to make sure the people who came from different backgrounds will understand thoroughly, if at all, if they missed in the first session. And there will be new ins and outs till 4 or 5 days, just to make sure they will also have some understanding of first 2 3 days concepts. I'll cover this. And what is else you have? So in Mulesoft day 3 session, we have contents with the debugging a Mule application, connectors, modules, file connectors, and so on. But we'll stop the third day. We revisit the second day first example execution, and continuation to that, we'll try to debug the first example that we have developed. And then on fourth day, we'll go to the next concepts. So we'll see the debugging. What is the debugging? What is the debugging? Anyone? What's the process of debugging? Anyone?
It's like investigation to the process execution.
Like investigation. Why the word debugging comes into the picture? Why the debugging? So in earlier days, when you see a computer, the earlier days, initial days of computers are like this. They will be connected with a big wires, right? Big pipes, chambers, whatnot. A lot of things they used to connect in the earlier days, first generation computers. So one day what happened? Computer is working, on of a sudden it stopped working. Then they did everything and they observed that in one of the pipe there is a kind of bug. There is a kind of cockroach, or there is a kind of bug was there inside the tube, which is jamming the channel, jamming the tube, so that the computer stopped working. So now you are sending something, you are executing this, right? So here what I am doing, I did something else here. Now I'll save my application and then I will try to run my application. So if your application works properly, it is fine. If our application not works properly, you should know, out of these 3 event processors, out of these 3 components, which component is given error, what is the error. If you want to know the detailed things, we have to use the debugging process. Now see, I'm trying to send the request. Now I got something else here. I didn't get hello, welcome to Mulesoft. I got something else, right? So in order to know what went wrong and to see at each event processor level what is happening. So set payload, you did something. What is happening in the set payload? Logger, what is printing the log in the console, whether it is a logger or set payload. If you want to know what is happening on each of the steps, if you want to know, then you have to run your application in the debugging mode. So what is the debugging? So the process where we can see your application execution step by step. When you run your application in the debugger mode, what will happen? Your application pauses at the runtime, right? And then we can see what's happening at the every event processor level. How to do that? Debug, project, hello world. So next to the second option. So if your application is already running, try to click this red button, terminate button, so that your application stops. I already clicked it. And then try to choose the second one. That's the reason debug means you will see a bug icon, right? We'll see a bug kind of icon. So now, once you run in the debugger, this debugger opens, asks you to confirm the perspective switch. What is this? So every view, here you have package explorer, here you have properties, console, all these views, palette, all these views are tied, and then they would have given a name. They will have given a name called perspective, right? So that is called a perspective. So these are the perspectives at the top. We will always be in a perspective called Mule design. So when you run your application in the debugger mode, so your studio people had created a perspective which supports for the debugging purpose. Mule design perspective is for your design, and when you run your application, it will be for your debugger perspective. You need different windows. It will ask us to switch to the debugger perspective. So now I clicked on this red button to terminate, and then I'll start debug. So now see, it will ask me to switch the perspective. What will happen? Nothing. All your views will get rearranged. So now I am clicking on yes. See, all my views got rearranged. You cannot see your M unit, you cannot see your properties, right? All those things. So you have Mule debugger is highlighted, and then your canvas is there, and console, and then your breakpoints, and then your Mule palettes. So now your application is running in the debugging mode. Now what you have to do? Now what you have to do? Run your application. What is our when you are running something, you should have an idea what is your agenda of your application. Don't blindly run the application. What is our agenda? To see the debugging. What is debugging? I want to know what is happening in the set payload. I want to see what is happening in the logger. Is it happening as per my expectation or not? What I did in the set payload, I am setting something. Hello all, welcome to Mulesoft, where this value is storing. Logger. I'm printing a message with the help of logger. Is this happening or not? Right? That is what I want to see. So I said in the debugger perspective, it will pass wherever you want. So now send a request. Now the request is the request is sent and you receive the response. What is our expectation? Our expectation is to pass the application at some point. So did it pass anywhere? No. Why? You didn't ask it to pass. You should say, right, pass. So now I am saying application to pass. Where before executing set payload, please wait. That is what the message means. That is called a breakpoint. Breaks its execution, pauses its execution, but not stops. Pause means just for a few seconds or few minutes, it will wait there, right? So now again, try to send. See, now you got the response here. Now I am sending. So now see, you got the response? No, because it is still in the process mode, right? So now see, it is showing me something. So means when you added a debugger breakpoint, your execution is halted. Your execution is paused over here. And then it is showing something like this Mule debugger variables and watches view is important. It will show you what is happening at running of your application. Set payload. So the current event processor that is executing. That is the first one. And the second one, observe only the payload. What is the value assigned to payload here? Payload equals to empty. Nothing was there. Now what I am doing, the current event processor, when I execute this event processor, your set payload, your name itself set payload. You are setting something into the payload. What? This. Whatever you want to set, you can set into the payload. So this is the place where you have to provide the value. Now I'm executing this. How to move from this current event processor to current component to the next component? With the help of, in the Mule debugger view only, there are different buttons. So in this, there is a button which shows you jumping from one processor to the other. Then the icon shows like jump from one to the other place, right? So click on this. The tooltip text for that is next processor. So the text that is showing after keeping the mouse is called tooltip text. So click on that. So it will move to the next processor. What it will do? Let me move. So means this processor got executed and then the control is here. So now what it has done, what is the payload value before set payload? It is empty. After set payload, you have a value got assigned to your payload. Means whatever the value you want to return, now this got assigned. And now I'm just clearing this. Now till now there is nothing message in my console. Now what happens after logger executes? What happens after logger executes? It will print a message in the console, right? It will print a message in the console. So the process of doing this is called debugging, where it will helps when you have bugs in your application. What does the bug means? It's not a physical bug like in earlier days, right? It's a bug means if your application is not working according to your expectation, you want to see step by step, right? So you want to see the step-by-step execution, then you will use this debugging process. So in the debugging process, we will know, we'll go to the each and every processor and then we will identify where the issue is. So that is what is the debugging. So debugging a Mule application, your Studio Visual Debugger allows you to run your application in debug mode. So how to run this? Right click on debug your project name. You can add the breakpoints to the processor and step through the application. In debug mode, application pauses its execution when debugger pointer encounters. Watch event properties and the values and evaluate data view expressions and so on. If you want more information on the debugger, just go to the link. Just go to this link, Visual Debugger. Right? And running your first application on the debugger. How do you run your first application on the debugger? You can get it from here. So I'll take a pause here. I am on my time, 6:30. So any questions to anyone on this topic? Sorry, 7:30. Any questions to anyone on this? All of you are good. Are you able to follow?
Ma'am, can you able to join? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Good, everyone. So if everyone good, I'll stop the recording or I'll keep it. So we have Karin from previous batch. And she recently last week got a job. She worked hard a lot and she used to ping me, she's the one of the person who has given me lots of messages. But and all. So
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good here, and how are you?
Yeah, good.
So at last
Thank
you
you so
cracked it.
much. Thank you so much, sir. Because of you, I could, go through my journey and got selected in such a good company.
Did you join there?
Yes, sir. I've already joined,
Oh, that's the reason for not joining on Wednesday.
and I've also cracked a project today only.
Oh, super. Nice.
Thank you
Did
so
you
much,
connected
sir.
with other guys? We have so many members in that company.
Which one?
In the company that you have joined, we have so many members.
Yeah. I have Basha and Nalini there, right?
Yeah, Nalini is also there.
Nalini is there, yeah. So they are
Some
also in
previous
my contact.
people. Sneha is a lecturer like Nalini. And
But from my batch, I don't know, sir, who is there in the company.
they are far. They are from last year 2020 batch.
Okay.
There are 3 people who are the real-time people who shifted to Mulesoft from other technology.
Okay.
The bad thing is that they are not able to crack the project in 3 weeks.
Okay.
You guys are cracking it.
Yeah.
So does Nalini also got the project?
So Nalini is still, she's waiting. She doesn't have the project till now.
Okay. So if possible, try to give your project lead contact details or something. So at least
Okay.
we can, if it is more than 4 or 5 members in the team, then try to loop her. Or else if you both are 2 members, then it is very tough to you guys to continue.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
let's get back.
Okay.
So we have Kiran. So Kiran, I'll give a brief introduction about Kiran. So Kiran is from, when you joined Kiran, it's
Batch 10.
batch 10. So this
Mhm.
is batch 15th. So
Yeah, this one.
so here you are, right? So
Yes.
she's from BCom background, and she worked as an air hostess for some time, and later, not sure why she felt to join IT.
So
She
you
did
were
lot.
the one. So you were the one who introduced Mulesoft into my life. So how can I forget that?
But before that, you should have to have an idea to join Mulesoft, right? So
Yeah.
someone, my inquiry gave your number at the time,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
are looking for Mulesoft. That's how we started, and then after 2 batches, she joined. She
Mm-hmm.
joined with very doubtfully, as she is from Kolkata, and she used to think like I'll take money and I will not, I will not train her. So, that's a general human tendency.
Yeah.
So finally he joined and he completed. He did practice. He purchased a, sorry, she purchased a laptop, and brand new laptop. Started practicing the things. Even after completing the batch, she was started giving the interviews, and the interviews are failing, and we connected her to our existing batch students who got the job, and with their accompanying with them, finally she cracked. How many offers you cracked, Kiran?
So I think 2 or 3.
Mhm.
After that, I cracked this interview.
Okay, so how confident you are? Suppose you joined in one company due to something or the other reason, if you need to leave the company, how confident you are to get another job?
Sir, like I am 75% confident. I can say that.
So how much time it will take for you to get a new offer?
Uh, so maybe I think within 1 month.
Maximum 1 month,
Yeah, yeah.
minimum of
Minimum 15 days.
15 days. So hardly 2-3 interviews will be good enough for you to again get another
Yeah,
offer,
yeah, definitely.
right? So
Definitely.
Kiran, just give some introduction to them. Just it's an idea to boost the new people, so that they
Yeah,
will
yeah.
also want to see themselves
Mm.
at your position. I know few people, those who are struggling in the life and working in different places, and as you get as you got frightened to join my course initially, as
Mm-hmm.
it's online, some people also there in this batch who paid lots of money to different people, and then
Yeah.
they get cheated, and with alternate routes they went to the jobs, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's how
Mm-hmm.
the thing is there. Just to want to boost their morale, I'm just introducing this, introducing the job who got recent job, not old people who got
Yeah.
recent job. I'm introducing them to the new batch. So
Okay.
just do some brief introduction in 1-2 minutes, how you identified this MuleSoft and how you joined my course. We have a lot of trainers in the market. How much percentage it helped you? How much confident you are after completing the course? And
Yeah.
how much percentage it is going to help you in cracking the interviews and clearing the certification?
Mm-hmm.
So just give 1 or 2 line answers for every question, and open to the forum if anyone wants to ask the questions. Just
Okay.
please try to give their answers to their questions.
Yeah, 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 sure.
Thank you, Kiran. Anyway, thanks for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
But
So, guys, you want to ask me anything? Because you can see that I am a live example in front of you. Like, I was totally from a non-IT background, and I came across this MuleSoft. And after that, I got to know about Kishore sir. And in that way, I just like, started my journey with this career. And it was a very difficult journey, I can say. But it's not impossible if you try your best, if you give your best. There are other ways also, like bad ways also, like where you have to spend a lot of money. So it is not like you cannot do it on your own. If you give your effort, you watch the videos, you follow Kishore sir's videos, and like thoroughly you are preparing yourself, I think like you can achieve the success. Not like in a short time. You will take some time, definitely, but in few months you'll be able to achieve your goals. And I think that you people are in the right track, and you will achieve the success, definitely. So you guys, if you have anything to ask me, you can ask me. You're most
You cleared the
welcome.
certification, right, Kiran?
Yeah. I cleared the certification also just after completing Kishore sir's classes. I
So you
was able
marked
to.
up the question and answers, or you were able to read the question and solve the answers?
Yes,
Which
I
one?
could.
Yeah, B. But marked up the answers, or just you solve the questions on your own by seeing the
No,
question?
so I was like, I was preparing the answers before. Like I was just going through the questions all the time, and I was just trying to, find the answers. And it was like in my head, in my brain, that I have to, prepare in that way. So it was like I was able to, manage and crack
Derive the
the
answers.
certification.
Yes. And when you go to the interview, in how many interviews you attended and how many you started cracking out? When your first interview got cracked, after how many interviews?
Like I took like 6 months to crack this
Hmm.
interview. So it
Right.
was like we finished the batch in June, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
June or
So
July.
she is from completely out of this learning path, right? You did job. How many years you did the job?
I'm sorry, sir.
How many years you did the job in previous job?
It was 8 years I was working in
Mm.
aviation.
Yeah, it was 8 years, and then she started preparing the things out,
So
and
like you
then
can understand that I was
after
totally from a
COVID,
non-IT
so
background.
right, so it took much time for her. It's an even much time for her. So if you do follow whatever I say in the class, that is more than enough.
So
If
your
you are
voice is
from
cracking.
any technical background, is it still cracking? Can you guys hear? Everyone? Am I audible?
Yeah, it's audible, Kishore.
Yeah. So for Kiran is
Yes, sir.
completely
I can
from
hear you.
BCom, and she had 8 years, out of the picture of studies and all. So it took some time for her to crack. So if you are from technical background, so in previous batch, Harika and Basha, how much time they took? For the other
So
people, they took almost, they used to do daily practice. Harika and Basha, they used to
yeah.
sit for till late nights and do to practice. So in 60 days they completed it course, and then next 15 days started practicing and prepared for certification. Next 15 days they started preparing for the interview. In your case, you don't have any any person to for share the things and share the thoughts and all. In that batch 13 or 14, whatever the batch it may be, there are 5 members started grouping out from day one, and then started practicing. They used to solve their doubts among themselves, and then even for interviews also they used to go all together, and they used to share the HR emails, IDs and all. So they got the jobs within 1 month after completing the course. So that's the place where I identified Kiran is also facing issue, and we asked Alekia to introduce Kiran to those members. And how many days it took to you after joining with them with that batch
So it
to
was
get
within 1 month I could crack the interview. Within 1 month.
exactly? So that is the gap she had. So if she had previously, she had that kind of group, then she had cleared it much earlier. I know you connected Daya and you connected other peoples, but they are not
Yeah,
much
you need the
responsive.
right people. You need the right people to,
Exactly.
to give you the right track.
Right track and even for discussions, right? So that is where we
Yes,
are trying
exactly.
to introduce everyone who are ready for interviews. We are trying to attach to the group, and that is where people are preparing up for,
Exactly.
right? So that's all, guys. If you have any questions to Kiran, feel free to ask any kind of question, whatever you feel.
Hi Kiran.
Hi.
Hi Kiran. This is Jeevan.
Okay.
Kiran, I heard you have 8 years of previous experience in aviation department.
Yes.
Then let me know how you managed in interview about that
Uh,
break.
no, actually, I didn't show my previous experience. Okay.
Okay.
I just showed like I have 4 years of IT experience.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And my previous
Okay.
experience, I didn't show it. I just showed my IT experience of 4 years. And my relevant
Okay.
experience in Mulesoft, I showed it like 2.5 years.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, by the way, I am Jeevan, friend of Nalini, your batchmate.
Oh, okay, okay,
And
okay.
okay, like
Yeah.
Nalini, I am also in teaching field from past 10 years.
Okay. That's nice.
Yeah, now with the force of Nalini, I started trying.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why I
it's
asked
very
you
good.
about the break.
It's
Don't
very
get
good. You
the
can.
don't get someone to force you.
No.
That force should come inside from inside you.
Not like that, not like that, Mr. Kishore. Actually, she is my best friend,
Okay.
and we are in a teaching field with less amount of salary. So she suggests me it's better to change. And also,
And
I came to know she cracked the interview.
yeah. So
Nalini
you can take her
cracked the
as an
interview.
inspiration, huh? Like she's also from your field, and she managed
Yes,
to.
yes. Yes, that's why I ask you. Okay,
Yeah.
thank
And
you.
if you need any like help for the consultancy, I can also provide you the details, and you can contact the person
Yeah,
if you
sure.
want the consultancy like details.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're most
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Any questions from others? No questions? Fine then. So that's all for today. Anyway, thank you, Kiran.
Kiran,
Thanks for joining and all
Kishore,
the yes, Sharon.
yeah, one question, just curious to know, like,
Hmm.
I mean, how come IT is pulling so many people from various, backgrounds,
Demand,
like from
demand versus supply.
aviation? Sorry?
See, demand versus supply. So we are not to IT companies. We are not saying I came from teaching, I came from aviation. We will not say that. We will
Agreed.
just
But I mean, see, aviation is a different field. I heard aviation is having lot of, salary and a lot of luxurious life and all. So,
Kiran
and
needs to
IT,
answer.
I'm sorry.
Like that question Kiran needs to answer. But overall, the point
Exactly.
is
That's the reason I'm putting this to Kiran
Mhm.
only.
Okay.
So, I mean, when I heard like aerospace and aviation field, like it is completely like a posh field, and it has like a lot of salary and a lot of luxury and all those things.
Yo-yo kind of
So,
life.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yo-yo kind of life. But
Yeah.
but but what made you to come to IT? Like where,
I have
like
I have enjoyed the 8 years in aviation industry. Okay. And then like
Mhm.
I had like marriage plans, so I got married. And then like after getting married, like I left the job somehow, like because I was having some health issues and all. Okay, so
Okay.
for that reason, like I thought of to take some rest. And then like I was going through like different careers, and Mulesoft came into the picture. And that's how like I thought of starting my career with this thing.
Got it. Yeah. Because see, not only aviation, like I'm seeing a lot of people here in this group and also in the market. So there are a lot of people like who are switching their career to IT world. So does this mean like IT world is booming or IT world is having a lot of requirements, or what kind of current scenario is?
See, the point to answer is that if you spend 2 3 months
Mhm.
in the current industry, whatever the industry is it, is there any chance to get 60 70,000 starting salary? Just if by learning, by spending some 20,000 for course, 20,000 for documents, and remaining extra 10,000, 50,000 in your 50,000 investment and 3 months time. Is there any other field which is giving you 60 70,000 per month salary? That is the first thing, is first motto for the other people to to join IT is that. So the cases that I have seen. So now someone is from teaching field. I think he has left. So
And sir, sorry to interrupt. This COVID also played a very big role, right? To change the like to bring the new normal in people's life, and to make work from home, right? So that was also a very big that also played a very big role in
exactly. So even before COVID, also we'll have a lot of guys. I know so many people. I know BSc Maths, MSc Chemistry, MSc Maths, MSc Physics, right? The guys come to the IT and they have learned IT, and they are in great positions. Even my friends are there in the architect positions who comes with MSc and BTech mechanical, civil, whatnot, BTech E&I. So the point is, what was the field where you will spend less time and get more salary? One guy called Ramakrishna spent 10 years of life in mechanical field. His salary after 10 years is 30,000. After 3 months, and after 3 months of course, and then 3 months of struggle, in 6 months or 7 months time, he got a job. His first salary is 70,000. Right? So that gives the maximum matter to the people here. Right? So we have that guy Career Plus, or someone who left. We have Girish, right? These are all from teaching side field, and they want to get into the ITC. If you are getting 20,000, 30,000 nowadays, we cannot maintain the family, right?
yeah.
So when you are a bachelor, it is good. When you had a family, wife, kids, and parents, right? So we need money. So that's the main motto, people to come to the IT.
Yeah, that's true, Kishore. So, Kishore, one more request from my end is like, is it possible to send daily recordings by 8 o'clock, like 8 or after this, immediately after the session, I can say. So, because so that
So
we can, yeah.
actually, I used to have morning sessions itself. This is the first time I'm having evening session due to the demand from multiple peoples. And this is
Correct,
also
correct.
my working time. I have to parallelly manage my next to me my office computer and
Exactly.
everything. So I'll try to make it as early as possible, but I cannot guarantee that very immediately. Even to create this recording into Google Drive, it will take 30 minutes time. I have to download this
Yes,
and
yes.
again upload it and give the permissions. So hardly I'll try to give by 9 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, 9 should be good because why I'm asking is like I'll also be having the office. So daytime, like during this session also, like I was in a meeting. So like parallelly concentrating will be like a 50-50 kind of. So that's the
Yeah.
reason like if I can get it before my late night 9
So, yeah,
9:30,
yeah.
so
So
that
by the
I can
9 or
have a
9:30, I'll try to
yeah,
add it. Fine.
yeah, because 9:30 means I can at least revise once in the night, so that again next day, again next story, the IT life, right? So that's the
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's
all.
the reason. Like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'll try to do my best, man.
sure, Kishore.